The spark of genius. Levavasseur's Antoinette. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. France. The world is obsessed with speed, whether on water or in the air. People are trying everything to go faster. Now, most engines back then were heavy, clunky things. They were powerful, sure, but they weighed a ton. You couldn't exactly stick a giant cast-iron boat anchor into a fragile airplane made of wood and fabric. An inventor named Léon Levavasseur saw this problem. He was a brilliant guy, always tinkering, always thinking about how to make things lighter and more powerful. He knew that to conquer the skies, you needed an engine with a great power-to-weight ratio. That was the magic formula. So, Levavasseur gets to work. He's inspired by the new lightweight engines he sees on motorcycles. He thinks, what if I take that idea and multiply it? He decides to arrange 8 cylinders in a V-shape, 2 banks of 4 cylinders sharing a common crankshaft. This design was revolutionary. It was compact, it was balanced, and most importantly, it could produce a lot of power without being excessively heavy. He named his creation the Antoinette, after the daughter of his financial backer. It wasn't just an engine, it was a work of art, a piece of engineering that would change everything. The first place this new V8 engine made its name was not on the road, but on the water. Levavasseur installed his Antoinette engines into sleek, fast-moving speedboats. These boats, also called Antoinettes, dominated the racing circuits in Europe. They were faster and more reliable than anything else out there. This success on the water proved the V8 concept worked. It was powerful, and it could handle the stress of high-speed competition. This was the proof of concept he needed before taking the engine to its next logical destination, the sky. The world was watching, and they were impressed. From the water, it was a short leap into the air. Early aviators were desperate for an engine like the Antoinette. They needed something that could lift their experimental aircraft off the ground reliably. Levavasseur's V8 was the answer. It powered some of the most famous early aircraft like those flown by Alberto Santos Dumont. The engine's smooth power delivery and relatively light weight made early flight less of a terrifying gamble and more of a science. This French V8 was the heart of the aviation craze, long before it ever rumbled down a public road. It was the engine that gave humanity its wings. Now let's fast forward a couple of decades. We're leaving France and heading to Detroit, Michigan. The year is 1932. The world is in the grip of the Great Depression. Money is tight. But one man, Henry Ford, had a crazy idea. He wanted to give the average person power, not just the wealthy who could afford fancy Cadillac or Marmon 58S, but everybody. Ford had already changed the world with the Model T, but that was a simple, reliable 4-cylinder car. It got you from A to B. Ford wanted to give people something more. He wanted to give them speed and excitement. Ford's engineers told him he was nuts. They said casting a V8 engine block in a single piece was impossible. It was too complex, too expensive, and it would never work for mass production. But Henry Ford was a stubborn guy. He famously told his team, "Produce it anyway." He poured millions of dollars into research and development, pushing his team to solve the puzzle. After countless failures and experiments, they finally did it. They figured out how to cast the entire V8 engine block, the flathead, as one solid unit. This was a manufacturing miracle that made the V8 affordable. The result was the Ford Flathead V8. It wasn't the first V8 engine in America, not by a long shot, but it was the first one that a regular working person could actually afford to buy. For just a little more than the price of a basic 4-cylinder car, you could get a brand new Ford with a powerful V8 engine. This completely changed the game. Suddenly, you didn't have to be a millionaire to experience the thrill of acceleration. Power was democratized. Any farmer, factory worker, or traveling salesman could walk into a Ford dealership and drive out with 65 horsepower under the hood. This engine wasn't just about going fast, it was about capability. For the first time, affordable cars and trucks had enough power to easily climb steep hills, haul heavy loads, and cruise comfortably at higher speeds on the new highways being built across America. The Flathead V8 turned the family car into something more than just basic transportation. It became a symbol of freedom and possibility. It powered the trucks that built the country and the cars that let people explore it. Henry Ford didn't just build an engine, he put the American dream on wheels. When Ford dropped this new V8 into his 1932 model lineup, he created an instant legend. The 32 Ford, or the Deuce Coupe as it came to be known, was the perfect package. It was stylish, it was lightweight, and now it had the heart of a lion. It was a beautiful car right from the factory, with its elegant grille and clean lines, but what made it truly special was the potential that lay under that long hood. It was a blank canvas for speed. Young people, especially soldiers returning from World War II, saw the 32 Ford as the perfect starting point for building something fast. This is where hot rodding culture really took off. These guys would buy up old 32 Fords, strip them down to save weight, and start tuning that flathead V8. They'd add multiple carburetors, high compression heads, and custom exhausts. They were taking a car designed for the family and turning it into a street-legal race car. The 32 Ford became the definitive hot rod. It was a common sight at the dry lake beds of California, where these pioneers of speed pushed their machines to the limit, setting records and creating a whole new automotive subculture. The influence of the 32 Ford is hard to overstate. It was celebrated in movies like American Graffiti and in songs by the Beach Boys. It became a symbol of American youth, rebellion, and ingenuity. The image of a chop-top deuce coupe with a rumbling V8 is burned into our collective consciousness. It represents a time when you could build your dreams in your own garage with a set of tools and a little bit of know-how. Every hot rod you see today, no matter what make or model, owes a little something to the legacy of the 32 Ford and its groundbreaking V8. Even the bad guys love them. Infamous bank robbers like John Dillinger and Clyde Barrow specifically chose Ford 58ES as their getaway cars. Dillinger even wrote a letter to Henry Ford to thank him for making such a dandy car that could outrun the police. When both the cops and the robbers are using your car, you know you've built something special. It proved that the Ford F8 wasn't just for show. It had the performance to back up its reputation on both sides of the law. It was, simply put, the fastest, most capable car for the money. The V8 story didn't end in the 1930s. The flathead was just the beginning. After the war, General Motors introduced their own overhead valve small block V8, and the horsepower wars began. Chrysler fired back with the legendary Hemi. For the next 70 years, the V8 engine was the king of the American road. It powered muscle cars, luxury sedans, heavy-duty trucks, and everything in between. The V8 became synonymous with American performance and the sound of freedom. It's the engine that defined generations of car enthusiasts and created a multi-billion-dollar aftermarket industry. Today, the spirit of those early pioneers lives on. You see it at car shows every weekend. People are still taking those old flatheads and building incredible machines around them. And they're also taking modern V8s, like the Ford Coyote or the Chevy LS, and swapping them into classic cars and trucks. It's the same idea that those first hot rodders had. Take a great engine and put it into a cool car to make it even better. The technology has changed, with fuel injection and computer controls, but the passion is exactly the same as it was back on the dry lake beds. Think about it. Every time you hear the deep rumble of a Mustang, a Camaro, or a Ram truck, you're hearing the direct descendant of Léon Levavasseur's Antoinette engine. That same V-shaped 8-cylinder layout he sketched out over a century ago is still providing the power and the soundtrack for our automotive adventures. The V8 has survived fuel crises, emissions regulations, and changing tastes. It has adapted and evolved, becoming more efficient and more powerful than Henry Ford could have ever imagined. It's a testament to the power of a good idea. So from a French workshop at the dawn of aviation to the highways of today, the V8 engine has been more than just a piece of machinery. It's been a catalyst for innovation, a symbol of freedom, and the heart of car culture itself. It gave us flight, it gave us speed, and it gave the average person a taste of high performance. The story of the V8 is the story of our love affair with the automobile. And even as we look toward an electric future, the rumble of a V8 will always be the sound of power. It's a legacy written in steel, gasoline, and pure, unadulterated fun.